The Euro Yard back again so soon, because today we're looking at the 2025 entries for Söngvakeppnin, which is Iceland's national final, taking place over the course of 3 weekends in February. The big finale is on the 22nd. Remember, for an up-to-date calendar of national finals, check out our website at theeuroyard.com. Similar format to the Finland video, we're going to run through the 10 songs competing to get Iceland's bid to Eurovision, and then at the end we'll give you a top 5. Best of luck to all of the contenders, and I hope they all put on a good show for us in the next few weeks. In terms of format, 2 things to note here because there are changes from prior years. First, 3 songs will get out of each semifinal for a total of 6 participating in the big final. The second note is that the super final is gone. It was a controversial element, whereas it was a final inside a final, but that's history. Had there not been one last year, there would have been a different outcome, so not really a surprise that they're retiring it. Before we begin, another note, I only listened to the Icelandic versions of each song, but I read all the translated lyrics to come up with scores for that category. Most of these songs have English editions, but for the purposes of this evaluation, I was only interested in the Icelandic songs. Going now through the songs participating in the first semifinal on the 8th of February. The first song is Jag flyr stormen by Burgo, and the English version is called Storm Chaser. Some people are going to love that high note she hit. She went way up there to get it, and she's got vocal range. We've established that. I didn't really get into the song as a whole. One thing I will state right now is that there's a relatively large number of songs in this year's contest that occupy a similar space, being slower ballads, and a few of them I'm wondering how they're going to differentiate from each other. This may fall under that umbrella. I will say that I think this song has some potential flexibility when performed live to surge if she crushes the vocals. Up next is Enzo Thu by August, and his English song is called Like You. This is going to happen sometimes where just right away you start listening to a song and you know that while it might be the taste of others, it's just not going to be yours. There's nothing wrong with that, and we can all wish him the very best, but this one did not work for me. The nicest thing I can say about it is that I don't think the musical composition was that bad. Next is Frelsin Mitt by Stebby Yuck, and the English song here is Set Me Free. Whether or not this is your taste in music, I think you would have to admit that in this contest, this song sticks out. It is the only rock song on the whole card. He can sing. I wasn't disappointed with the vocals, and it wasn't a bad rock song. The thing that hurt it is the lyrics are a bit meager, but what are you gonna do? If anything, I wanted him to go harder than he did. Not necessarily as hard as Puppy in Finland, but I want to see him really go for it at the contest, because in terms of genre, it's by itself this year. Nordios was the next song, brought to you by Bia, and her English song is Northern Lights. That's a very topical thing for a place like Iceland, which has gorgeous auroras. As for the song, not to spoil the top 5, but this was the nearest miss that we had. Coming back to the topic of songs that all occupy the same territory musically, this is one of them. Another thing a lot of them have in common is a positive, that the singing is decent in most of them. I would imagine that's probably part of why they got selected. This song was an okay effort, but it will have to fight to stand out. The last song from the first group is Roa by Vibe, a duo you heard last year at this contest. There's no English version, which means row or rowing, as in rowing a boat. Real talk here for a minute. I was not a fan of their song last year, full disclosure. This one is better. Like Stebby Yuck's song, this one is in a class of its own in terms of this contest. A good word to describe it is goofy. It's the most different song here, and in this context, different is a good thing. It's also the most fun song, but again, it doesn't have a lot of competition. The vocals, yeah, they were what you thought they were, but the entertainment value, I think, is going to take this fairly far. On to the second group, who will be performing on the 15th of February. The first song was Adams Lenker by Bjarni Arason. No English version here either, but the title translates to a little longer. There are going to be people out there complaining that this is boring, but look, if you get through the lyrics and listen to the tone of the song, this is actually very sweet. It ain't gonna win, but this is very sweet. Sure, the song is kind of sleepy, but its heart is in the right place, and I respect it. Next, there's Aldur by Julio Disa, and the English version is called Fire. Not many duets this year, but this is one of them. This was okay. In fact, so okay that it leveled out at about average scores in every category, plus or minus a point, so it shouldn't surprise you that it finished around the middle of the pack on our sheet. It wasn't too remarkable, but when the female singer dropped the beat, that's when my opinion of it picked up a little bit as well. Then we move on to Fludrekar by Darusi, and his English song is called Carousel. Look at the bottom there. If you recognize some of those names in the songwriting credits, your eyes are not deceiving you. Two of the writers were Joy Deb and Linnea Deb, who were two of the songwriters on Heroes, which was of course Sweden's winning song in 2015. Of course, you have probably seen their names in a lot of other songs. As for this particular song, to be honest, I almost wish it were a better showcase of his talent, because I think he was the best singer in the group. While this song didn't take me there, I will give Darusi his credit. Risum Up is the next song, which was performed by Bara Katrin. The English song is called Rise Above. Sorry to say that this one was not a standout. The lyrics didn't chart a high score with us, and even if we put that aside, the song didn't really even hit a first gear, let alone a second. Again, this is another case where maybe the song itself was subpar, but the singer did a fairly nice job with it. Our vocal scores for her weren't bad at all, and hopefully she can come back to this contest in the future with something else that sticks out a little more. The 10th and final song in this contest is Straub, sung by Tina, and her English song is called Words. I think I was fairly surprised how this one ended up scoring on our sheet, because frankly, it came in higher than expected. Why is that? Well, for one thing, she was one of the few that did something different, and in this case, it's country. Lyrically, it was one of the better entries, the singing was fine, and this left me with a more favorable impression than not. The song that's gonna win this contest is gonna probably be one of the ones that zigs when everyone else zags, and does it well. Tina is showing me here that she's got something to work with, but let's see how she delivers on the main stage. A general word before we get to the rankings. Going into this contest, my main critique is that it seems to be lacking in variety. There are some national finals like Dora in Croatia that are serving us some sharp turns from genre to genre. In this one, at least half of the lineup kind of fall into the same bucket, so at least for us, I struggle to see how those songs are going to set themselves apart, but that's for them to figure out before February. Now, what you've suffered through this whole video for are top 5. Sure, we could have done a top 10, but we'll leave you guessing as to where we had the songs from 6 through 10, as if anyone cares. Anyway, let's go. At number 5, we had Aldor, and what got it there was that switch up in the middle of the song, which made it somewhat more interesting. In 4th, we went with Fludrekar, which, if this were a song I liked better with his vocals, I could have put it first, but I'll have to make do with 4th. In 3rd, it's Roa by Vibe. The vocals hold it back, but this is one you should circle, because not only is this the kind of song they might send, it's one of maybe a small handful that could escape a Eurovision semifinal. Up to 2nd place, we're giving it to Frelsid Meat by Stebby. Like Roa, this song stands out, and I think generally in a good way. There's a good riff to open this one up, and I think he can sing. Finally, the number 1 song for the Eurojard is Straub by Tina. I think it's the most well-rounded song overall. It might not have aced every category we rated, but it was consistent, solid, and most importantly, not bad in any category. More national finals coming your way, and the Eurojard will be here for it. Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on social media, and bookmark theeurojard.com.